I've seen some videos of like people cave diving in really like narrow, tight caves. And I'm always thinking to myself, what are you doing, man? Why? Like, maybe it's because I'm a bit claustrophobic and I don't like tight spaces. But even if I wasn't claustrophobic, I just don't understand the appeal of like going into a really, really tight space where you can't even move.
This is so much worse than I thought it was going to be in terms of the solitude of it and the sense of utter isolation.
Getting stuck somewhere inconvenient is bad enough, but sometimes things can take a turn for the worse. Just ask the two individuals who had to be rescued after their hot air balloon became tangled in a communications tower more than 900 feet above the ground.
Oh, no.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're looking at some of the most terrifying real-life situations where people became dangerously trapped.
I mean, what am I supposed to do when we get out, if we get out? You hug her and you cry like a baby.
Baby Jessica.
The operative word for the moment is may, of course, since it looked like, to repeat for emphasis, at one point much earlier in the day that they might be able to do it, but it turned out that Jessica McClure, the 18-month-old child's foot, was caught in a crevice and they just couldn't get her out.
In October 1987, 18-month-old Jessica McClure became the center of one of the most gripping rescue stories in modern history. While playing in her aunt's backyard in Midland, Texas, the toddler accidentally fell into an extremely narrow well shaft only about 8 inches wide and was stuck 22 feet underground.
Why was the well shaft not covered up?
She remained that way for 58 tense hours.
What?
Wedged in a position that made rescue incredibly difficult.
A paramedic, armed with a tube of KY jelly and an obstetrician's forceps, was lowered down the shaft.
She was down there for 2.5 days.
Slowly, the cable was pulled up. The child's parents waited, and so did we.
Emergency crews worked around the clock, eventually drilling a parallel shaft and tunneling toward the trapped child. The dramatic rescue held views in bated breath across the United States. Thankfully, rescuers reached the toddler and pulled her out alive, making baby Jessica a symbol of hope and determination.
Yeah, we did it, but I still can't believe it.
Never a doubt.
No, it is a miracle.
Am I being harsh, or do I think that it was quite dumb that the shaft, the well shaft, wasn't sealed off? Like, you're letting a kid, a toddler, go play out there. Like, you got to seal that shut. Or am I being too harsh here?
2023 Batagram Cable Car Rescue, Pakistan.
The first car was shaking. Then helicopters came and we gained some confidence. Meanwhile, those two brave rescuers are now being hailed heroes across Pakistan.
Imagine the terror when an ordinary school trip turns into a terrifying ordeal high above a remote mountain valley. This was the case of 6 school children and 2 adults who found themselves suspended roughly 900 feet above the ground on a gondola near Batagram, Pakistan. The cable supporting the gondola snapped, leaving the car to dangle precariously for hours, while strong winds and mechanical instability made rescue extremely dangerous.
Watch as this drone video shows up close the 6 children and 2 adults trapped 600 feet in the air after one of the cables holding their cable car snapped.
Helicopters initially struggled to approach the swaying gondola, forcing rescuers to improvise. Eventually, highly trained commandos used zip lines and harness systems to reach the passengers one by one. After an intense and nerve-wracking operation that lasted nearly an entire day, all 8 people were safely brought to the ground.
Relief and joy on the faces of all those around.
Dude, can you imagine being in that gondola, just praying that it doesn't snap and you just go plummeting? Like, oh my God.
Stuck on the ocean floor.
When you're lifting the helmet onto the diver's head, you look into their eyes. You can then see if the diver's happy or frightened out of his wits because you can see more white than eyes.
Working hundreds of feet beneath the ocean surface is already one of the most dangerous jobs on Earth. And in 2012, saturation diver Chris Lemons was to experience the worst of it. While performing maintenance work about 300 feet below the North Sea, Lemons' lifeline cable suddenly snapped during rough weather. That cable normally supplied heat, communication, and most importantly, breathable air.
When I was nearly at the top, I noticed that Chris didn't seem to be going any further. I could tell something was wrong.
Lemons' team scrambled to regain control of their vessel. With only a few minutes of emergency oxygen available in his backup tank, Lemons lay down and seemingly accepted his fate.
Oh my
But against
God.
incredible odds.
Yeah, he thinks he's gone now. Like, you can tell the way he's just lying there.
Lemons' team managed to reach him in time, finding him unconscious but still alive in an underwater rescue to both remember and forget.
Bridge, Chris is responsive, and he's talking.
Dude, he was so lucky they knew where he was. Because, I mean, oh my God, imagine, because the ocean's so big.
Trapped inside a cement hopper.
He was able to walk down. It's a very narrow gangplank. We walked him down and got him on the ambulance, and he's being treated now.
Industrial workplaces can hide unusual and unexpected hazards. One construction worker for the U.S. Pipe and Foundry found out about this the hard way after falling into a massive cement hopper while cleaning it. The large funnel-shaped container was designed to hold cement powder before it was mixed for construction use.
Earlier today, they were telling me it was about 2 hours ago, a man who was working here at U.S. Pipe fell into cement up to his chest.
Whoa.
As the cement gradually thickened and solidified around his legs, the worker found himself stuck. It was a race against time for firefighters and rescue crews who had to work carefully around the thickened cement. And
was he by himself, though? Where was his buddy? Like, people don't pour cement by themselves usually.
Remove it while not harming the worker. After a tense and painstaking operation, they were able to free the worker before the cement hardened completely, preventing a potentially fatal situation.
Man.
The Alpazat Caverns.
Lucky dude. Can you imagine being stuck in cement and just feeling it getting harder and harder, and it's just tightening around your body? Oh my God.
Rescue. Cave exploring can be a tricky business. 6 British soldiers exploring Mexico's Alpazat Caverns felt the brunt of this reality while trapped in the cave thanks to heavy rains that triggered flash flooding. Rising water cut off their exit route and forced the group to retreat to a narrow rocky ledge above a raging underground river. Thankfully, these were seasoned cavers.
You all right?
Yeah.
Where's drone? Huh?
I don't know.
They had packed enough resources to survive for days underground. After 8 tense days, cave divers finally guided the trapped soldiers out one by one in a delicate 6-hour rescue. Questions soon emerged about the expedition itself, as the group had entered Mexico on tourist visas and without notifying authorities, sparking rumors, diplomatic tension, and what one observer called a diplomatic dog's breakfast. The Nutty Putty Cave incident.
Now, for over a day, search and rescue.
I mean, I wonder why they didn't inform the government, like the Mexican government, of what they were doing. Why did they keep it so hush-hush?
Tried many methods to get John out, but they all failed. On the 4th attempt to pull John out.
Oh my God, is this the angle that he was actually at?
The rope and pulley system used broke, dropping John back down into the cave deeper than before.
In 2009, a recreational caving trip in Utah's Nutty Putty Cave turned tragic for one John Edward Jones. While exploring the cave's narrow passages, Jones entered a tight vertical chute that quickly narrowed just a few inches across. Jones continued down the chute, crawling forward headfirst.
He continued down? Why would you keep going?
And soon found himself wedged upside down in a fatal
God.
position within the cramped tunnel.
As John headed deeper into the cave, he got trapped on the wrong path.
Like, why would you go through that? I just don't understand why you would want to do this. Please, somebody explain it to me. Like, where is the fun in this?
now enclosed on all sides and facing upside down.
The position placed enormous pressure on his body and made breathing increasingly difficult. Rescue teams worked tirelessly for more than 27 hours, using ropes and pulleys to pull him free. Unfortunately, the confined space and Jones' inverted position made rescue nearly impossible. Jones ultimately died inside the passage, and the cave was permanently sealed to prevent future accidents. Between a rock...
Poor John, I feel bad for him. I feel bad. Horrible way to go. Horrible.
And an amputation.
As I went out there, I made a choice not only to be by myself, but I didn't tell anyone where I was going.
Why?
Alone in a remote part of the canyon, the boulder he was climbing became loose.
Few survival stories demonstrate sheer determination like that of Aaron Ralston. In 2003, while hiking alone in Utah's remote Blue John Canyon, Ralston accidentally dislodged a massive boulder.
Is this the thing that the movie was based on? The one with James Franco?
Boulder pinned down his right arm against the canyon wall, leaving Ralston in a precarious position. Completely isolated and without access to communication channels, Ralston spent 5 agonizing days trapped with limited food and
5 days! Oh my God.
Water.
Climbing would probably be impossible with one hand. The blood loss and my dehydration, I think, are ruling that out. I think I would die if I cut my arm.
Despite multiple attempts, he could not move the rock trapping his arm. Realizing rescue would not arrive in time, Ralston made a life or death decision. Using a small multi-tool knife, he amputated his own arm to free himself. After escaping the canyon, Ralston still had to hike several miles before reaching help, but ultimately recovered and continues climbing to this day.
So we're gonna cut my arm off.
Floyd.
Why would he not tell anybody where he was going? Why? Why, man? Why did you do that?
Collins. In another unfortunate story concerning cave expeditions, cave explorer Floyd Collins set out in 1925 to explore a newly discovered cave system in Kentucky. While navigating a narrow passage inside Sand Cave, a large rock shifted and pinned his leg, trapping him deep underground.
Any bones broken?
No, I guess not.
Can't you get your legs out from under?
What do you think I've been trying to do?
Unable to move, Collins found himself in
That was such a dumb question. Of course he's been trying to move.
In a dire situation. News of the incident spread quickly, turning the rescue effort into one of the first major media spectacles in American history. Reporters, engineers, and volunteers flocked to the site as rescuers attempted to dig a tunnel toward him. Unfortunately, despite the best efforts, the tight passage made rescue extremely difficult.
Oh no.
After days of desperate efforts, Collins eventually died before he could be freed.
Peristam sanctam uncionem, et suam piissimam misericordiam, indulgeat tibi Dominus quicquid.
Just awful.
69 days underground.
On camera, the miners joke about the accident, but it seems Plan B is no match for the hard rock. As their 50th day underground approaches, the miners' rescue is still far from assured.
Miners work under extreme duress and in precarious circumstances deep beneath the surface where the shifting of rock and stone is unpredictable. One such instance of unpredictability led to the catastrophic collapse of the San Jose copper mine in northern Chile, trapping 33 miners nearly 700 meters below the surface.
2 small shafts have already been drilled about half a mile straight down to where the miners are waiting. These channels act as a sort of umbilical cord so that rescuers can deliver capsules of medicine, food, water, and communications equipment.
Dude, how much do miners make? Because I'm sorry, they deserve like a really generous paycheck to have to go this far down, this deep.
The miners survived the initial collapse, but were also cut off from the outside world with limited supplies for survival. The fate of the miners remained unknown for 17 days, until a drill probe returned with a note reading, "We are well in the shelter, the 33 of us." After 69 days underground, a specially designed rescue capsule finally lifted each miner safely back to the surface.
69 days. That's over 2 months? My God. I'd be crying. I'd be like...
The Tom Luang...
Like, I'd be thinking there was no way I was going to come back up. After that long, could you imagine spending over 2 months underground? I think a lot of people would give up hope.
Cave rescue.
พ่อแม่ก็เริ่มร้องไห้กันตะโกนหาตรงหน้าถ้ำกันนะ
On June 23, 2018, 12 boys from the Wild Boars soccer team and their assistant coach ventured into Thailand's Tham Luang Cave after practice.
Why?
Unfortunately, the team found themselves facing a flash flood that trapped them deep underground with no way out. For 9 days, the team survived in total darkness, drinking water dripping from the cave walls while their coach taught meditation to keep them calm. Meanwhile, an enormous international rescue effort formed above ground.
When the first boy gets through the long dive, I swim to you and report. Because if it's not working out, we need to know before we bring any more out.
But if it is working,
then we get on with it. The packages. Or just the delivery guys.
When British divers finally located the boys alive, the challenge shifted to extradition. The team and the coach were guided through submerged tunnels in a daring 3-day operation until they were all successfully brought to safety.
The moment you surface, a fantastic sense of elation and achievement.
Which of these
Oh my God. I already had no interest in caves, underground sort of stuff, spelunking, but this has just cemented that for me. I have zero interest in like going underground unless it's like, you know, getting the tube, like the trains and stuff like that, because some of these stories I just feel like almost were like self-inflicted. Like the poor guy who, you know, he went hiking alone and didn't tell anybody where he was going, decided to do something, you know, go somewhere that must have been quite dangerous. And then he got his arm stuck in the rock, was there for a week, and then he had to remove his own arm. It's just such an awful, awful story. But I feel like if he just told someone where he was going, you know, after a day when he didn't return, they would have known where he was and they would have got him before he had to do that to himself. I just feel like it could have been so easily avoided. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And check out the video I'm going to link right here. See you there.